So let's take a look at how the distance between 2 points is determined in a plane. So let's go ahead, let's say we've got an axis coordinate system. So here's our y-axis. Here's our x-axis. Not perfect, okay. Actually, it's going to bother me that they're a little bit off. Not that I'm going to do a lot better here with a straight edge, but let's go ahead and try. So let's do one axis like this. Okay, and it's slightly better. Okay, so let's say we've got 2 points. Okay, and we don't know what these coordinates are, so arbitrarily let's just call this guy x1 and y1. And let's call this guy x2 and y2. Let's say I want to find the distance between these two. Well, what Pythagoras came up with is that if we create a right triangle, then this length down here, we'll call this A, this will be B, this will be C. Pythagorean Theorem says that A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. So this is where your distance formula comes from. Okay. Now let's talk about the distance A. Well, the distance A down here, well, that is just delta x. If we have x on this variable and y on this variable, like I've got represented. Okay. So delta x is A, so this is just delta x squared. Of course, this length right here is delta y. And C is the distance that we're looking for, so we'll just say that this is equal still to c squared. Okay. Well, what is delta x? Delta x is the difference between the x values. Now notice that this point right here versus this point right here, this x value is the same as the x value of this point up here. So this guy must be x2, and of course we know that the x value here is x1. So delta x must be x2 minus x1. So this is going to be x2 minus x1 squared. Now, you could do x1 minus x2, because since we're squaring it, it's not going to matter whether it's positive or negative. So that gives us delta x. Now let's look at delta y. Well, of course, this guy right here is at a height of y2, and this guy right here is at a height of y1, right? Because this is the same height as this point. So our delta y has got to be y2 minus whatever y1 is. And of course, if we're looking for just c, that's what we want. We want just this line here, c. We don't want c squared. We'll just take the square root of both sides. So the distance, which we'll call c, or d, whatever you want to label it, will be the square root of this guy right here. And that's it. That's how we go ahead and we get our distance formula. And of course, you know, you've been through enough courses now that you know how to apply this to find the distance between 2 points.